One thing what we don't see is actually Putin would like to have a peace. The membership of NATO for Ukraine is the most secured, most clear, most efficient, most cheapest way actually to give the security guarantees. Any other structure is much more complicated.
The Kyiv Independent is here in Tallinn, Estonia. We are going to speak to the country's foreign minister, Margus Tsahkna. So stay with us and make sure to keep an eye out for similar interviews like this by subscribing to the Kyiv Independent's YouTube channel. From the Estonian perspective, how decisive is this moment for Ukraine, is the next few months for Ukraine and for the security of Europe as a whole?
Maybe I'm starting from the point where actually this aggression started in an active way, in this scale. It was 24th of February. And actually the Putin's plan was to take over within a couple of days. And he was not succeeding. And we have to remind as well that Ukraine has been very successful. Because we always more and more talk about that now the peace must be done and wrap it up, and also that Ukraine is in a bad position. But actually, let be honest, Ukraine was able to fight back. I think that Europe has been waking up. I was the defense minister in 2016-17, and I see the total difference in Europe. Because it was a proof, two things. One is that Russia is an aggressive country and it will remain as well a threat for Europe, not only for Ukraine. And the second, it is possible to fight back. It is very important that this change of mentality is there. So this is something what Ukrainians and all the others have succeed in the meaning. And now, of course, the situation is very complicated. And I see as well that there are more and more talks about peace. But what is the peace in the meaning? Who is winning? Who is losing? And of course, Putin is putting the narrative very actively on the table that he's winning, he's gaining more territories. And of course, for Ukraine, it's really, really complicated to fight back. And we understand it definitely. From an Estonian perspective, we advocate and we ask everybody to give more, to have the real military support, the defense. But honestly said, talks about peace, we all want peace. I think that Ukrainians mostly want to have a peace. But the peace must be a just peace and long-lasting peace. One thing what we don't see is actually Putin would like to have a peace. You cannot weaken your positions in the meaning of talking about the peace, but the other side who is actually committing this aggression and doing everything, and even more and more. So not showing any willingness of change the goal. The goal for Putin was not to gain more territories. The goal was actually to take down the Ukraine democratic government, and also he has said publicly that such a nation as Ukrainians, they're not existing. This is the goal, and I don't see that the goal has changed at all. So I'm really advocating as well to our allies publicly that we need to understand that any kind of ceasefire is not a peace. Any kind of peace without the security guarantees is not actually the peace, long-lasting peace. And also we must take the part of these kind of processes. And there cannot be a peace process without Ukraine totally, it's impossible. What I believe in is that we need to give military support. We need to give finance and economical support to Ukraine right now. We need to make Ukraine position stronger. From our perspective, this is a full membership of NATO. The most effective, the only working security guarantee as an organization is NATO membership. But if it's not coming, so we need to discuss as well what are these security guarantees. But these security guarantees must come after the peace, must be just and also long-lasting. And I don't see this kind of willingness from the Putin side at all.
How close are we, do you think, to a real unified understanding of what you're saying between all NATO members, or at least the key players, that peace must come with hard deterrence against a repeat invasion?
I see the change that Russia will remain a threat to Europe. It's there. And more seriously, different nations and governments talking about what can we do more. We have increased totally our defense investments, but not all, mainly the bordering countries and the Nordic countries. But there is still some kind of attitude, not for all, but too many countries are thinking that maybe the business as usual it can come back. Let's have a peace and maybe the normal life is coming back, but it will not come back again. We have witnessed as well that this kind of neutrality positions in the neighboring of Russia, they are just a green light for Putin. And we need to understand as well that Putin is not the leader of the country who is taking care or thinking what will happen with his nation. Not at all. He has built up the regime about terror, about fear, and about the idea and legacy to restore the empire. And he's an old man. And from Kremlin, no one has went to retirement program. Only Khrushchev. It happened during the Soviet times. But he knows that he's fighting for his life. So it is not so easy for him to stop this war machine he has built up. It is based on fear in their own society. It is based on economy. It's based on the everything what he's doing, also on the payroll. I know how many hundreds of thousands of people are there. So the war is the basic core his power is relying on. So we need to understand, all of us, as a Western part of the world, it is not easy anymore to turn it back without using power or without fighting against this aggression. And Ukrainians, you are doing that, not us. And Ukrainians not asking our troops to come there. Ukrainians are asking the most, the most understandable thing. It's like military support, financial support, and we have it. We need to give it. I think that this understanding that if we are going to have any kind of weak peace or ceasefire in Ukraine, all this aggression will continue.
Does Estonia agree that NATO membership is the only option? And if there are other options, what could they be?
The main idea is that if there will be a post-war situation, how can we give Ukraine and also for Europe in this region the solid security guarantees? So the question is that what are these security guarantees in real life? Are they like the missions and the peacekeeping missions, the military missions? Is there like what are the guarantees? And our point is very clear. The membership of NATO for Ukraine is the most secured, most clear, most efficient, most cheapest way actually to give the security guarantees. Any other structure is much more complicated because we are not only securing the situation in Ukraine, we are securing the Europe, but also I can say maybe not even anymore theoretically, but we are in a year of 1938 in Europe. Just before the Munich meeting, when Prime Minister Chamberlain went back to Great Britain and showed the white paper and said, now the peace is here. So this is very dangerous momentum. One or the other can go back home and say that we brought the peace, but it can be as well the Chamberlain peace and the start for the next aggressions and next aggressions. And we have the situation right now that we have all the opportunities to avoid everything what came later, 1938. It was the Second World War. And it was not about only Europe or Poland or Estonia and Baltic states. It was about the world order. We are somehow in the same position that the United Nations Security Council is not working. As in 1938, the League of Nations was not working. League of Nations was the organization which had to back up the deal what was made after the First World War. United Nations Charter is about everybody in the world, about this order. And if it doesn't work, if it's not able now to support Ukraine and have this kind of peace and just and long-lasting, then this system may collapse. And it affects everybody. It affects Europe, it affects US, it affects Middle East, Indo-Pacific. So this is the point from our perspective, why we need to now to deal with Putin in very precise ways.
Is there a scenario where European countries, especially those who have that clarity that Estonia and Poland and the other Baltics and Finland and so on does, to be forced to be compelled to take maybe braver steps even without the US?
The honest answer is we don't know yet what will be the Trump's plan or proposition. We're using this time to explain, to put arguments on the table, but why we are thinking as we are thinking. So Estonia has not changed our foreign and security policy at all. We are paying a lot for our defense investments, and our region is doing more, Europe is doing more. But also, I think that there will be more understanding about that this Russian aggression against Ukraine, this is not like the isolated problem. It is all connected. It's all connected with Iran, with China. China will be probably in the center of President Trump's foreign policy. So this is all connected. Many people have said many things during the political campaigns and whatever, but what counts is that what will really happen. And what I feel, and Estonia is doing the same, is that we are talking to Trump people and the administration, the future administration, to explain. And also I don't believe that Trump would like to have the situation that he's putting on the table some kind of weak proposition. He is used to be in a strong position. So, and to be in a strong position, we need to act all together.
Do you think something needs to get worse in that way before the West can make that final step to wake up?
I do hope, and that's why I'm working as a foreign minister and many others in our region, and not only in our region, that we have all these opportunities to stop Putin where he is and push him back to Russia. We are not living in a fear like right here in Estonia, but we are just practical. We have witnessed from the past what happens if the Putin has an opportunity to continue, and he will continue anyways. Good thing is that this understanding is already in Europe. If we see as well, the Swedish people decided to join NATO without more than 200 years of neutrality. It was like the main, like the sign that this kind of understanding is there. I really do hope that we don't need the years 1940, 41, 42, 43 to finally understand that actually we could have a different situation. That's why I'm bringing this parallel with Munich meeting in 1938. The understanding is there, but I don't know exactly what is going to happen. But I'm actually more positive that we can actually support Ukraine based on the understanding that Ukrainians are not fighting only for himself and for us, but instead of us. I can say it as a former defense minister, because we saw 2016-17, the other side of our borders, 120,000 troops ready to go within 48 hours. These troops are not existing anymore. They were sent to Ukraine, they are dead. So that's why I'm saying as well that you're fighting instead of us. And that this knowledge is already pretty wide.
Hi, my name is Francis Farrell, a reporter here at the Kyiv Independent. We here at the Kyiv Independent are not stopping for a second to bring you what you need to know about this war and about the world processes that affect it. But we need your help. For as little as the price of a cup of coffee, you can join our community of thousands of members who form the core of what makes our work here in Ukraine and across the world possible. To support independent journalism and join us in this fight, become a member now by clicking here. Thank you.